Welcome everyone. Thank you all for coming this morning. And despite this hitting the news yesterday afternoon, we are here today to officially announce that Brett Emerton has made the decision to retire from football. Brett is without doubt one of the finest footballers this country has ever produced. And he'll be remembered as one of the true trailblazers for the game. One of the first Australian players to forge a very successful career in the top flight European leagues. Brett's decision to return to Australia in 2011 to play in the A-League and to join us here at Sydney FC, when there was still a number of lucrative opportunities for him to continue his career in Europe, I believe that decision was a real mark of the man. Brett had a genuine desire to return home, a genuine desire to play for Sydney FC, and a genuine desire to give back to Australian football. And I'd like to take this opportunity to publicly thank Brett for the huge contribution he's made to Sydney FC over the last 3 seasons. Brett has been an outstanding ambassador for this club. He is a true gentleman of the game, and it has been a pleasure to have him here at Sydney FC. So thank you, Brett.
Privileged to be here this morning to start the congratulations for Brett Emerton regarding his football career. It's hard to think of a better advertisement for Australian football than the career of Brett Emerton. As Scott Barlow said, significantly, this is a guy that's done it all and come back to the A-League to bring the curtain down on his career, and in such a dignified and humble way. It is important to point out the significant investment that Sydney FC have made over the years in players, but none more important than bringing back a hometown hero who'd done it all in Europe and in the EPL, come through the national youth teams, played for the Socceroos, and of course the third most capped Socceroo in the history of our game. That's indeed a glittering career. We will take the opportunity to make sure that football fans get to celebrate Brett's career, possibly around the May farewell game, and of course we've also got Mark Schwarzer to consider in that, but 2 absolute champions and guys who have been humble and dignified all the way through. Brett has embodied the green and gold all the way through his career. It's a career that has really been the complete journey for an Australian footballer. I'm very pleased to say that while we are nutting out the details, Brett will have an ongoing role with football in Australia and with FFA. He's already been a significant ambassador for us around junior football, and he's keen to continue to work with boys and girls as they come into the game, but also we see roles around the Socceroos and make sure that we are mentoring players appropriately as they come through our national youth teams. So it's a great privilege for me to congratulate Brett on his career. I'm sure there'll be many more opportunities to look back over what he's achieved both Australia and overseas, but as I said, hard to think of a better advertisement for Australian football and a better inspiration than Brett Emerton. Thanks.
Thank you. Oh, look, I'd just like to reiterate what Scott and David have said. Look, I've had the privilege of playing against Brett when he was 18, or turning 18 for Sydney Olympic, and I remember that day at Suncorp Stadium noticing that he was going to be something special going forward, and proved that I was a pretty good judge of not only character but a footballer. And I've worked with Brett for a long time in the national team and also here at Sydney FC, and the common word that keeps coming out is humility. And I think I've mentioned, some of the greatest sports people that I've known have been the most humble, and Brett Emerton fits into that that same stature. So to be the 3rd most capped Socceroo, for me it's been a pleasure to work with Brett, and we've always had a good relationship. So for Brett to go out on his terms, I think from a footballer's perspective, that nothing's better than that. And so, I hope Brett stays involved in the game, which I'm sure he will, and I wish him all the best. We discussed this morning He said, "Oh, look, if you need me to fill in every now and then," he said, "I'll do a better job than Bimby, Stevie Corica." So we'll most probably still see him around the club from time to time.
I'd just like to say that obviously the decision to retire from football wasn't easy. It's been my life for almost 20 years now, and means the world to me. But injuries, like all players, it got the better of me in the end, and I just thought it was the right time for myself personally and for the club to part ways in the right way. It was my decision, and one which I feel very, very comfortable with. My playing career is over, but my involvement in football won't end. As David said, I'll be working with the FFA in the future, and hopefully become a great ambassador for the game here in Australia and for young kids. Hopefully I've been a fantastic role model, and I feel there's still a lot more to give. I'd like to thank Sydney FC for giving me the opportunity to come back here to Australia and give back to a game here in this country that's given so much to me. I always said that's the way I wanted to end, and they gave me that opportunity, and it's been fantastic. Hopefully I've contributed to the A-League's growth over the last 2 or 3 seasons, and it's only going to continue to grow. It's a fantastic competition, and I look forward to watching it from the stands. I just also like to say that I'd like to say thank you to everyone for all their messages and kind words over the last 24 hours. It means a lot to know people think so highly of me, and hopefully I can continue to impress people and, like I say, give back to football in this country, because that's what I want to do, and look forward to doing that. And finally, thank you to all my family and friends who have helped me throughout my career. It's without them would not be possible, and got a lot to thank them for. So, thank you. I'm getting a bit emotional now, so I might end it there.
Well said, Emma.